it's one game. Like, it is what it is. Like, Brady has all the Super Bowls over Drake May, but if things are going the way that they are, might have more Super Bowls coming in the ring. So we'll see. All right, everybody, welcome back. As always, I am your party host, Joe Rivera, and I'm here with one of the preeminent ball knowers of USA Today Sports, Chris Boombaka. And Boom, really tough morning to be waking up in the tri-state area. It's gloomy out here. The Jets fall to 0-7. It is what it is at this point. Just, don't screw up the tank. The Giants are coming off a miserable loss to the Broncos, and in a game that looked like they had it wrapped up with about 5 minutes left to play, it didn't end up that way. So, you got any thoughts on the way the Giants tanked away that game to the Broncos last night, Boo?
Yeah, there's a 99.7% chance of me completely losing it. I think that was their win probability going into at one point during the fourth quarter there, and it even flatlined at that point, like being like, "Yeah, you guys got this one. No need to overdo it here." But the Giants have lost a version of that game every single time for the past 12, 13 years. So as improbable as it was also inevitable, it felt like. So, yeah, I mean, you can criticize everything from the coaching to the roster construction with the kicking situation and even the rookie quarterback's play, which was pretty darn good for about 3+ quarters there. So, uh, tough times for Big Blue. You go from being on the cusp of 3-4, and you're in the mix with other teams in your division, and now you're 2-5 and firing everybody. So, life in the NFL, 15 minutes of football.
Yeah, my 7-10 and in the wild card hunt after Thanksgiving prediction for the Giants isn't looking too hot right now, Boom. And you know what? It's a miserable game to lose yesterday. Like you mentioned, that the Giants have lost the variation of that game a million times in the last X amount of years. But I'm not a Giants fan, but it probably stings a little more when you see that it's Jackson Dart starting, right? Like when it's Daniel Jones or it's Russell Wilson or it's any of these other jamokes that were starting for quarterback for the Giants, it's like, all right, well, you live with it because you know that's not your future. But with Jackson Dart, it's got to be feel a little bit different, right?
I don't think the quarterback really matters in terms of the effect of the loss emotionally. Uh, if anything, you might even have more hope because it's a rookie. But
Hmm.
I think no matter what, if you are a supporter of the New York Football Giants on this Monday morning, there's little to no hope, no matter which way you cut it.
And speaking of little to no hope, Boom, let's bring it on to our Monday morning quarterbacks. And I know from one NFC East quarterback to another, Boom, there's a guy that you specifically want to mourn on this fine October day.
Yeah, it's from the blue injury tent to whichever MRI machine Jaden Daniels finds himself in this morning. Wishing him well as he awaits those results from the MRI on his right hamstring there. But yeah, not good scenes for him and the Washington Commanders, even when he was healthy during the game Sunday, which was a blowout loss. He's thrown to Chris Moore and Robbie Chosen with Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel injured. And all season, his chemistry with Terry has been off. I think you could attribute that, honestly, to the holdout by McLaurin during training camp when that chemistry is built on those deep balls that they just have not been able to hit all season. And the lack of explosives, I think, is really hurting that offense. And now he's already missed 2 games this season, and he's going to be missing, it seems to be a bit more. So, JD Daniels, you are mourned this Monday morning.
Yeah, Boom. Both of us, I feel like we went into the season saying that Washington probably wasn't going to replicate what they did last year. But it also just looks different, right? Like the vibe just hasn't been there this year. Like you said, the chemistry with McLaurin hasn't been there. Daniels already misses 2 games, and now we'll see how much longer he misses with the hamstrings, which can be tricky in a number of different ways. So not great. Not great if you're a fan of your Washington Commanders this morning. But I want to bring it back to Thursday, Boom. And there's a quarterback that I would like to mourn, and that's one Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers, he had a good performance, right? You throw the 2 interceptions, it is what it is, but you throw the 4 touchdown passes, and you say most quarterbacks that throw touchdown passes in a game probably going to end up winning that game, right? But he was outdueled by Joe Flacco, who seemed to take a sip from the fountain of youth, who threw 3 touchdown passes, 342 yards, learned to very quickly to just throw it to Jamar Chase, right? And also had the read option that he just said screw and ran the ball on. So it's a tough loss for the Steelers on Thursday night. Interesting stat: Mike Tomlin is now 0-7 on the road versus AFC North opponents versus on Thursday night, which is like really hyper specific for no reason, but an interesting stat nonetheless. I don't know what it says, but it says something. But my Monday morning quarterback, all that goes to waste is one Aaron Rodgers. Tough loss.
Yeah, very tough loss for the Steelers on Thursday night because they brought Rodgers in to be a step above a game manager to do basically what he did. That offense puts up 31 points. It should win with the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The issue for Mike Tomlin is that his defense is trash. They're bad. That's a bad unit. Look at what they from week 1 against the Jets. We were kind of like, maybe the Steelers defense isn't as good as we thought, and yeah, it's really played out that way.
Weird things happen on Thursday night all the time, Boom, but I feel like there might be something more real about that game.
Bad defense. They get pushed around on the line of scrimmage against the run. The secondary play has been uninspiring, and when you have a short week like that and your premier pass rushers are kind of gassed, it's tough to get after a quarterback, even 40-year-old Joe Flacco.
All right, Boom, we're entering the midway point of the 2025 NFL season already, which seems insane to even say, but we have some numbers down on paper that are pretty interesting, and numbers can tell you a lot, but we're going to go with a little segment here called Pump Fake. And I have 5 statements and 5 stats I'm going to read to you, Boom. You got to tell me which of these stats you think are real and which of them are fake. So,
Fun stuff.
Yeah, fun, real fun. Not fun for some of these guys on this list, interestingly enough, but we'll start with the guy we already spoke of, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to, all of these stats are entering the Week 7 Monday Night Football game, so some subject to change here. But per PFF, Aaron Rodgers' average depth of target, his ADOT, is 3rd lowest in the NFL. Is that a real stat or a fake stat, Boom?
That's totally a real stat. That's a screen heavy, get that ball out fast type of offense, and let Rodgers kind of pick his matchups. And I know that DK Metcalf, one of his favorite receiver targets in Pittsburgh thus far, leads the league in yak. So I'll go with true.
Yeah, that is true. You're 100% correct. And entering Week 6, Boom, Rodgers actually had the lowest average depth of target in the NFL at 5.8. And that's minimum 20% of whatever dropbacks in the NFL. So it's not like it's a small sample size either, which is kind of crazy, right? Again, at this point in his career, we know that Aaron Rodgers can still throw the football, right? Like we saw it, like he's still got the arm strength, but we know the kind of player, and this goes back to the Matt LaFleur days where he just totally changed who he was as a thrower, where he was relying on a lot underneath. He was picking his spots deep and letting guys work with the ball, right? So it's not really surprising to see that it's 3rd lowest in the NFL. He's a high-level game manager at this point in his career, and there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Library.
All right, so here we go. Here's another stat. Despite his monster performance yesterday, completing over 90% of his passes, Drake May graded out with a 75 passer grade per Pro Football Focus. Is that real or fake, Boom?
For the season or for
just for the
7?
game, just for yesterday's game, Week 7.
I'll go with false. He looked really good. I know that he had like one completion that shouldn't have been one. He totally threw behind a receiver who made a great catch. I'm forgetting which receiver it was right now. I feel bad about it. It might have been Douglas, Demario Douglas, but yeah, I mean, I think he had 2 incompletions yesterday and is like putting up insane accuracy numbers. So I'll go with false.
That is a false stat, Boom, and you're right on top of it. He graded out his passing grade yesterday was an 83.8. So he looks to be the goods, man. I mean, you saw it in flashes last year in 2024, his rookie season, and that was a mess last year, top to bottom, coaching, everything happened. It was just a total mess. This year you have back-to-back performances versus New Orleans where he looked like a star, and then yesterday versus Tennessee, right? Like he just looks like the real deal. And that the stat line he put up yesterday, something that Tom Brady's never done in a Patriots uniform, which, like, again, it's one game, like it is what it is. Like Brady has all the Super Bowls over Drake May, but if things are going the way that they are, might have more Super Bowls coming in New England. So we'll see.
Josh McDaniels, pretty good coach. All right, I'm 2 for 2. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, let's keep it rolling, Boom. And that next statement here is the number 1 pass rush grade per PFF in the NFL belongs to the Green Bay Packers. Is that a real stat or a fake stat?
Is that a real stat or fake stat? Oh man, number one pass rush grade. I know Micah gets home a lot. My one concern is like, do we have the Denver Broncos ranked above them? I think that would be the team that would give them a run for their money at the top of that list. I'm gonna go true though. I like the way that they rush the quarterback. That they got a lot of guys who could do it, so I'll go yes.
Hit the buzzer because you're actually wrong on this one, Boom.
Um,
The number one pass rush grade in the NFL currently belongs to the Cleveland Browns
mm,
with an 88.6 grade. Now, listen,
Miles
man,
Garrett will do that.
Miles Garrett will do that, right? And he's been a monster this year. And the thing is like that stat. What's the old ideology of football, right? You want to protect your quarterback, you want to hit the quarterback, and you want to have a quarterback, right? The Browns having at least a third of that is pretty good, but there's still a long way to go in Cleveland. So impressive that Cleveland has the number one overall grade there, but Green Bay is not far behind as of the Monday morning of Week 7. They were ranked fifth in the NFL, and they were behind the Cleveland Browns at number one, the Texans at number two, the Steelers at number three, and the Detroit Lions at number four. So some real heavy hitters there on that list. All right, this is an interesting one for me personally, but at 93.7, Sam Darnold has the highest grade of any quarterback in the NFL. Is that a real stat or a fake stat? Boom.
Man, I gotta nail this one. Get back in the winners column. I'll go fake.
You would be incorrect, Boom. Sam Darnold is currently entering Week 7 Monday Night Football games. Is currently the highest offensive grade of any quarterback in football at a 93.7. It's
Hmm.
like kind of depressing for me. His pass grade is a 92.8, right? So like he's outranking everybody
How
in
do
the
you have a
NFL right now.
different? How do you have a different grade? I'm sorry, I'm not like a huge PFF like
So
savant here. So how do you have a different passing grade and an overall grade? What
so
grading
your
guys
overall
for
grade,
handoff?
yeah, your overall grade is like how you run as well. So
Uh,
like if he's a good, like, like he's not like
Sam
running the
Darnold does a
ball.
lot of
Yeah.
running.
Yeah, he does a lot of running. Yeah, I mean it's not like he's like running nonstop, but it's really pick your spots, it's ball protection, it's all that stuff that is baked into it. So 92.8 pass grade though, if you just want to boil it down to that is still tops in the NFL, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? Like any thoughts on the way Darnold's played this year in Seattle?
Clint Kubiak has really done a good job of designing that offense to suit his needs, and I think when you have a guy like Jackson Smith Najigba who can run all types of routes, deep down the field, over the middle, out and short. Like it's easy pickings for Darnold when a guy's that open for you all the time. So credit to Sam though for doing it again at a different spot like he did in Minnesota last year.
It's really kind of crazy to think about. Boom, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith up until this year, like Baker Mayfield is an MVP candidate. Like these guys are all cast offs, right? Like it's not a matter of like a Drew Brees all those years ago when he had a devastating shoulder injury, and you say to yourself, like, is he going to come back from this? Like these guys had multiple spots after their initial team, like, and they found it, like they just found it elsewhere. So maybe it's a different philosophy for teams moving forward on quarterbacks. I know that the rookie contracts play a lot into that too, but it's really interesting to see quarterback castoffs really making second, third, fourth acts around the NFL now. It's good for those guys too, right? To take advantage of those opportunities and really make something of yourself. All right, Boom. Last stat that I have here on pump fake, which is another interesting one. We'll see if you get this one right. I can bring it up. Sorry. Christian McCaffrey has a 59.7 rushing grade, which is 50th in the NFL among running backs. Is that a real stat or a fake stat?
Was that going into Sunday Night Football? That includes his 100 and whatever yard performance last night.
That does not include Sunday Night Football, so it's an important factor to distinguish there.
Oh yeah, then I would totally believe it 100%. They were really running. I mean, excuse me, passing to run, especially without Brock Purdy at quarterback, Mac Jones finding him and targeting him a lot in that short to intermediate passing game. And they had a lot of success with it. And then obviously last night, McCaffrey went off. Big night for him. First time over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and there went over the Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, 100% true that he was 50th or whatever you said.
It is true. 20% of 115 rush attempts, boom, entering week 7, enter the performance. It's funny because McCaffrey obviously gets by on reputation a lot, but to see that number this year, and you would think with Purdy out, to your point, you'd say to yourself, well, maybe you just find ways to give it to McCaffrey nonstop, right? Just give him the ball and let him work. That really hasn't been the case. Mac Jones has like kind of been cooking in that spot, right? While Purdy's been out. So, yeah, I mean, last night, like you said, a monster performance versus the Falcons at home, defending home turf. And we'll see what his grade pops up to today. But entering week 7 wasn't too pretty, surprisingly.
Is Mac Jones cooking or is Kyle Shanahan chefing? I'm more inclined to believe the latter there.
I mean, I feel like everything with Kyle Shanahan is always him chefing, right? Like, I just think with him, like, I mean, yeah, you talk about some of the personnel decisions, but like he just knows how to coach a football team. He knows how to run an offense. Like it's incredible to see the injuries that he's dealt with over the years, and sometimes it hasn't been pretty, right? Like the Garoppolo years early in his career, he gets hurt, and they end up with sub 500 records. But it's so fine tuned now, and with the injuries to stay at the top, stay with at pace of the NFC West, it's like, man, this guy is just so good. He's so good. Now, we'll see if they make it to the playoffs if Shanahan can finally put together. But getting to Super Bowls is pretty good too, man. I know fans aren't going to be happy with losing them, but you want to get to them too, and he's a coach that can get them there all the time. So, good for Kyle Shanahan. All right, boom. Before we go here, the NFL trade deadline is in a couple weeks, and we're starting to hear a lot of trade rumors swirling around the NFL, whether it's Alvin Kamara or Breece Hall or Chris Olave, a lot of heavy hitters potentially on the move. So there's also a lot of teams that might be buying, they might be selling, or they might be staying put. So let's do a little buy, sell, or stay with the following teams, right? We're going to go rapid fire here. So we'll start with the Cowboys. Should they buy, sell, or stay?
They should stay, but they will buy because it's Jerry Jones.
The Eagles, buyers or sellers, or stayers?
Always buyers. Howie Roseman's going to go out and get some secondary help, I would presume.
The Tennessee Titans, boom. Things aren't looking too pretty with Cam Ward and obviously the interim head coach Mike McCoy there, but still maybe some pieces they can move. What do you think? Buy, sell, or sit?
Sell, sell, sell. Please get Jeffrey Simmons to a place where we can appreciate his dominance in the trenches.
The Jets, should they buy, sell, or stay? Boom. I mean, we know the answer to this, but
they should sell the team.
Yeah, sell the team. That's option number one always, right? Yeah. All right, the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. Do they buy or sellers, or should they stay?
They should sell, but they're not going to do anything because they're a poorly run organization at the moment.
And last but not least, the New England Patriots. Should they buy, sell, or stay? Boom.
I would get into the buying if I'm a New England Patriots front office member here because this team is a little bit ahead of schedule and you might need some help, whether that's kind of like on the interior of the O-line or maybe another pass rusher or maybe even in the secondary, which is already a strong suit, but why not double down on a strength?